Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
What digital camera are you guys using these days? How long have you had it? I'm curious because I just got a new digital camera this afternoon. Brought it home and been playing with it pretty much all day. And people have been asking about it. Well, what'd you get? What is it? What does it do? It is the Canon PowerShot SD 880 IS. And before this particular model, I had been using a Canon PowerShot SD 700 IS, and that was a good camera. I mean, it still is a good camera. In fact, I've had it in my car for quite some time because inevitably I will be out and about and I'll need to get something, photo or video, and I'll always have that with me, in the car. So I'd been watching the news, at least as far as digital photography is concerned, and Canon just released these. I can't say it's an awesome digital camera. It's a good one, certainly full featured. It's got pros and cons, and that's what I'm going to cover with you here in this pseudo review in my limited experience with the Canon PowerShot SD 880 IS. This would be probably, let's see here, probably about the fifth in this series, the Digital Elf series from Canon that I've purchased and used. And I love Canon's on-camera software. This one is certainly no exception to that rule. The software is good. And so, I'm going to start there with my list of pros. First off, it's now using Digic 4, which, helps with autofocus, red eye, etc. It's a 10 megapixel camera, 4 magnification optical zoom, wide angle lens at 28 millimeters, and also has a 3-inch LCD on the back, which is pretty nice. And as I said, the limited amount of time that I've spent with it. So there's a couple of models available. One that is got a silver face, and one that's got a gold-ish face. And so I went with the silver face because everything else I have here is silver. The back got the LCD. You've got the controls. The ability to set a custom key or a custom button. It's got a jog dial to help flip through either modes or photos in when you're browsing the photos that you've taken or the images or videos on camera. Another positive, at least for me, is that it's using the same rechargeable battery that I had or still have for the other Digital Elf. So I've got an extra battery lying around, which is always kind of nice. It feels solid. It doesn't feel too cheap. Well put together. At least that's the way it feels in my hand. It doesn't feel like something's going to fall off. The gate is solid. That pops out to allow you to either replace your battery or change your battery, or insert your SD or SDHC card. It's got a mini USB connector, and so that's kind of nice. It's a standard connection. There is the ability to shoot video, of course, with this. You can go 640 by 480 at 30 frames a second. I believe, at least according to documentation, it records in H.264. That's a good thing. It's very fast. I mean, I turn it on, I'm ready to take a picture. I mean, it's ready to go. And, I can hold the button down, snap the shot, and I'm off to the races. The nice thing about the software, too, is the jog dial allows you to move between program and auto mode when you're in the camera mode. You can also flip your, I guess it's a switch, over to your screen or scene. Why do I always say screen? Scene mode, and they've got presets for like indoors, which works really well. Sunset, snow, beach, fireworks, aquarium, things that you might hit when you're out and about, taking pictures. They've also got an ISO 3200 mode, which is really only usable in extreme situations, like really, really, really dark. Color accent and color swap, of course, are as much fun as they always have been, if you're at all familiar with what Canon's onboard software can do. That would be like take a picture. Before you take a picture, you can swap out a color dynamically. Say if I wanted to have my curtains behind me blue in a picture, I could do that. Another neat thing that is built into this particular model, at least this is the first time that I had seen anything like this. It's got the ability to, if I go and set a face self timer, check this out. So I've set the face self timer, and it only takes the picture when it detects there's a face. 2, 3. So now I've got 3 pictures of myself that it took in rapid succession with the flash, and then of course I can go back and choose which one that I want. That is very nice, because inevitably you'll be out and about and you'll go like this and you'll hold the camera up to get yourself in the shot or whatever, and you press the button, it takes 3 pictures, you can choose the best out of all 3, and you're good to go. And this is the neat thing, and I'll show you again. Okay, so I've got it set. It says it tells me look straight at camera to start countdown. Nice, huh? So it only started the countdown when it detected that there was a face on the screen. Very nice. I like that feature a lot. It's very practical. Browsing in the playback mode is just as convenient as it always has been. You can press the display button a few times, get a histogram, details of your photo. Then they've got a new display option. Oh, and it also it's not exactly like Zebra, but it'll show you areas of the picture that are overexposed. You can more easily browse between photos by using the jog dial, which is really nice. Of course, you can zoom in, and it will not just zoom in on part of it, and you can navigate around. But it'll show you the overview and shows you where you're zoomed in relation to the entire picture. The grid lines can be turned off or on. I always like turning them on, and that's will show you your rule of thirds when you're going to take the picture. They also have a setting that will show you what is the 3:2 ratio or 2:3 ratio, as well as the grid lines, so you can get an idea of what it would be if you're recording widescreen or in a widescreen format versus the typical 3:2 or 2:3 ratio format for an image. They've got onboard contrast settings that you can tweak. There's different flash settings that you can set. The red eye largely is what you can do there. It's also got the mode for when you are taking a night shot. If I go into, let's see here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to perfectly illustrate it, but I press the set button. I could set auto white balance if I wanted to, your colors, and in the, where is it? See if I can find it. Oh yes, in the exposure setting, you can press the display button and set how long the shutter will be open for, and you can tweak that so that would be used likely if you had it sitting on a tripod. You're trying to take a night shot, getting as much light as you could. It's very, very nice. Everything on here has been good. However, I mean, when I say everything, I mean everything in theory has been good. The thing that I really don't like about it is that it seems to be over JPEG'd. Yes, I've set it super fine with maximum resolution, but when I've done that, unfortunately I get some artifacting, like something had been smoothed over by software, softened in software, and I suppose Canon may have done that to relieve some of the noise that may be present in a particular picture, but it comes out being a little almost too smoothed, or noise removal. The only way to combat that, as I've discovered, is to set the ISO manually to 80. 100 maybe, but if you go by auto ISO, even if it's set at 400, it just, there's things going on in the image that just makes it seem that it had been, well, smoothed over. And unfortunately, the way the compression works, it just doesn't come across very well. It ends up looking a bit muddy in places. You lose a lot of details with flash shots or with still shots. But as I learned, if I set the ISO to 80, I can get a pretty decent image. So that's a small frustration that I've encountered. I don't know if that can be updated by software or not. The whole idea behind being able to set your ISO is that you can get a good image despite the amount of light in the room. I found that the image comes across okay, and I think it would pass a lot of people's tests in terms of image quality. Let me pull my desktop back into view. This is a shot that I took, and I realize you're not going to be able to see it perfectly from that camera angle. But I've uploaded these photos specifically to my Flickr account at flickr.com/lockernome. This is a setting I just pretty much point, shoot, took the picture. A lot of details came out. This was a manual setting of an ISO of 80, and I believe I did not fire the flash. This is a manual shot that I took with continuous mode on. This is what's underneath my desk. I've got that light cube and one of the wireless Mac keyboards, and it came across really, really well. I mean, the photo turned out very, very well. I was pretty happy with the amount of details. This is at a higher ISO setting. This is a shot that I took downstairs in the basement with very little light down there at the time, just from the windows behind me. A lot of details came out, but again, around the edges is a bit muddy. Like this one, I think that I used the indoor settings for this particular shot. I may, if I went back and retook it in a manual ISO 80, it would probably come out, the lines would come out a little more sharp and the details would seem a little less muddy. This is a shot that I took with the only light coming in through blinds, through the windows. This is looking down, like right here by the stairwell. And then, of course, I enhanced it a bit. The contrast was pretty good. You take a shot and you look at the photo, and the contrast is pretty strong. You can tweak some of that too, post-processing, so to speak, while it's still in the camera. Increase the colors, decrease the colors, change the colors, the contrast, etc. There's a shot of Wicket, and this is I took the same shot of Wicket with my older Canon SD 700 IS. If I got that model right. I don't know, it's in my car. And Canon tends to have an issue where the vividness of colors tends to not be there in a shot. And I'll take a shot of like Wicket and a brown blanket and a cream cover for the bed and the dark wood here. So it's a very brown shot, and there's nothing that's very vivid about it. And so all I had to do was just tweak the colors in vivid, and it seemed okay. Details came across okay. I believe this was shot just with the regular in program mode, not automatic. If it was in automatic, obviously I did not use the flash. I much prefer not to use the flash if I can at all help it. And there's a shot of Wicket in the office. This is with ISO 80 settings. I did bump up the colors a bit, although there's not much color in the photo. I get a good visual separation between the color of my dog and the color of my carpet, and they're pretty similar, at least in coat. I don't know if I'd consider my carpet having a coat, but I guess it's a color. So, the details came out. This was again set with after I figured out, well, the only way I'm going to be able to stay away from a lot of that muddiness is to use an ISO 80 and force that, and then take in rapid succession, just shot after shot after shot, and then delete the ones that I don't want. There's a rich shot that I took of our pantry, and the reason why I took this, I'm like, well, there's a lot of colors here and a lot going on. How much details is it going to pick up? And I think it did a pretty fair job at this particular shot. I did, however, go in, resharpen it, and I did that in software on the desktop, and then I also increased or changed the color just a bit. It's kind of hard to get all the reds perfect and all the blues perfect and the whites perfect. I mean, there's a lot going on in this photo, but it did a very admirable job in my opinion. Again, this was with a setting of ISO 80. Not a lot of noise, really not, and the only light that was here was the one that was overhead in the pantry. So just in these workaday shots, I actually had a couple of others. Unfortunately, I had deleted them. I'd like to test it in night, specifically setting up a tripod and then using the extended shutter in one of the modes. I haven't really taken any video with it to this point. I've got an 8 gig SDHC card in there right now, and I believe it's capable of recording up to an hour's worth of footage just on that alone. So that makes me pretty happy. I am disappointed that they didn't allow me to record in HD. It's a little disappointing because I know that's got to be a software limitation, because it's not a limitation on how much space I have in the card. I don't believe it's a limitation in the processor and the camera. I mean, it's a fast camera. I mean, I can, like, here, watch. And it's ready. I mean, it takes like a second, if that. I mean, I don't have a stopwatch with me, and I don't know if I can measure it that fast, but it is fast from, start up to taking your first shot, as well as turning it off to being able to slip it in your pocket. Any old way, this is just, my perspective on this camera. I spent, I think, around $300 on it, and I'm happy with it. I'm not going to return it. It will be the digital camera that I will be using and carrying with me for all the features that I mentioned. It's a pretty good shot. I mean, yeah, 10 megapixels. I don't know if I'll ever use that many megapixels. I mean, but it's always nice to resize and make things sharper. You could always go down, but it's very difficult to go the other way. I wish, though, that it would shoot HD. I wish that I could shoot in RAW as well. Of course, it's kind of a lot to expect for a $300 camera, specifically in this particular series, the PowerShots, the digital elves. But I think the Canon's got a winner on their hands. I do wish they'd update a few of those things in software, and certainly if there's a Canon engineer out there, if you're looking for feedback, I'd love to give it. I'm a big fan. Spend my own money on your products, and I like them well enough to spend my own money. I also, before I forget, before I really start using it, I put a right on the back to cover up the LCD screen, so that if a scratch happens, it doesn't damage the screen, and I can always replace it just by peeling off this layer of clear plastic. You can pick up, I think Right is the name of a brand. The idea is that it's a plastic sticker that you place over it, kind of like you would place over an iPhone or a PSP or the screen of a DS. You could do the same thing. I recommend doing that, especially with something that you're going to be sticking in your pocket. Anybody else got any feedback, any other suggestions I may, want to pass along, or if you want to give them to me, I'd love to share them with the world if you've got a good set of tips. Email address is chris@pirillo.com. You, of course, can watch my photo stream. I've got them, planted into my blog at chris.pirillo.com. And, of course, as I mentioned, I've got a Flickr stream as well at flickr.com/lockergnome, YouTube channel at youtube.com/lockergnome, lockergnome.com, which is a place where bloggers make money from blogging. See here, we've got a community website, geeks.pirillo.com, where people are, typically talking tech, swapping stories, good and bad, relating their own product experiences and looking for advice. So you're more than welcome to join us there. And then, of course, you're also welcome to stop by the chat room and this live video feed that we have going on. I know I've been teasing everybody in the chat room for, as I said, the better part of the day. I've had this just sitting here. Well, the box was here, but I was taking a picture. I didn't say anything, really. I was just taking the pictures, moving it around, testing things out. Didn't really say anything, though. I kept everybody in suspense, but I guess that kind of worked. At least I hope it kind of worked. Anyway, if you want to join us in the chat room and the live video feed, you're more than welcome to, so long as you are a good person. We only like good people, and I'm sure there are good people in here right now. But if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. We're at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.